Hello and welcome to Wingin It, and welcome back to another Wingspan tournament gameplay video. As with some other recent videos I've posted, this is a slightly older game I played a month or two ago. I wanted to go back, revisit, and do some commentary on because I think this is a pretty interesting game. So hopefully it'll be interesting and useful to watch back and get some insight into what I was thinking as the game was playing out. Now, as again with these other recent videos, this is going to be just the base game, European expansion and Oceania expansion. So this was played before we had Asia expansion in the tournament. So we're going to jump straight into this one. So we are going first in this game. So let's dive in and take a look at what we've got in this starting hand. And you'll see it's a very, very interesting starting hand. So Pleated Woodpecker, I'm going to jump all over that, but also we've got another really, really fun bird to play with here, Common Moorhen. So you may have seen my recent video where I played with the Tree Creeper. Moorhen, I think for me, also falls into that category of really, really interesting bird to play with, and one where really the right circumstances, the right situation for it to be viable, they don't really come up too often. So when I think I get a chance like this to use Moorhen and have a bit of fun with it, I'm going to go for that. I'm going to, make every effort to see if I can get it to work. So, lots of good birds here. Nuthatch as well is a great one, just to help build out in the forest. And you see, I'm also looking at this whitethroat now. This might be biting off more than I can chew, but whitethroat's a really, really good one early on, I think. Again, it's another one that works really well with Moorhen, where, you can play extra birds with the Moorhen, get more birds down in the wetlands, and then use the whitethroat to fill up those egg spaces and get a lot of points that way. So I think it could potentially work here and just help get more points. So I think there's certainly a world where it can be kept, of course, with the starting nectar in these Oceania games. We could still play the Pleated Woodpecker, even keeping 4 birds like this. So we are going to keep those 4 birds, and it should be a pretty straightforward setup. I think it's going to be focusing on getting the forest going for sure, with the Pleated Woodpecker, with the Nuthatch, getting those egg spaces down for the cavity nests that we need for the woodpecker, and then just grabbing some extra food, because that Moorhen power, we're going to need a bit more food if we're going to be discarding, and then playing more wetland birds. But Moorhen, it goes so well with Pleated Woodpecker because, as I say, to use that Moorhen power, you need extra food. You need extra eggs. That's exactly what you're doing when you played Pleated Woodpecker. But also all of those egg spaces, the 6 star nest spaces with Moorhen, really, really helpful, giving more space for Pleated Woodpecker to lay into. So turn 1, I say no real hesitation. We're just going to get it down. We'll take a quick look at my opponent's situation. So keeping 3 birds over there. We'll see what those are going to be. But as I say, for me, it's just going to be about getting things set up, and we may have to change or reorder what we want to do just based on what my opponent plays, in case the cavity nest comes out. Now it doesn't straight away. It's actually Wilson Snipe, so we may get some free cards there, which is just going to help support this Moorhen even more, because there's kind of 2 ways to play with Moorhen, I think anyway. And the first is that you're going to draw the bird and play it in the same turn. Now that can work, but it can be a bit risky. Sometimes there's wetland birds in the tray. We see got Barrow's Goldeneye here, which might be a tempting one, again with all these cavity spaces. But it's a risk because there's not always going to be a wetland bird there. So sometimes, you've got to go off the top of the deck and just hope, cross your fingers, that you find something. But the second way to play with it, which I think is a little bit more reliable, and certainly my preferred way to use it, which is to kind of have the bird that you want to play already in your hand. So when you're going to go and draw cards, you're going to play whichever bird it is that you've got in your hand. And then whatever else you find is kind of a bonus. Maybe that's something that you can play on a future turn. So hopefully, with these free cards coming through, we're really hoping for wetland birds. Unfortunately, we're getting some of the worst forest birds in the game. But, I mean, that's also fine, because in this situation, we can just throw those for extra food, just what we're doing here. Because as I said, really the extra food is kind of what you need to make the Moorhen work. So not seeing any changes in the tray. So Sometimes, you know, early on, I was wondering if my opponent might spend food to reset the tray and we could react to that, but not to be here. So Chipping Sparrow's gone down. So very nice forest bird, but again, no cavity nest. So yeah, sort of thinking about how I can react to that, how I can adjust my plan. But I'm also thinking, you know, do I just get this Moorhen down kind of as soon as possible, make use of the egg space there, and yeah, maybe be able to react to if a bird comes up in the tray, because I've got to think about, you know, am I going to use it this round? That's the big question is, do I use the Moorhen? Do I just stockpile a bit of food and maybe wait for the next round and hope that some better wetland birds are going to come up? Do I still go with this whitethroat? That, I think, is the big question. Yeah, still on my mind. But for now, we are going to get Moorhen down. So I think, as I say, that's just giving that little bit of flexibility. And maybe we take food here, play the whitethroat, see how that goes. Maybe we take food, maybe we pick up and play that golden eye. But as I say, just kind of waiting and seeing that Chipping Sparrow come out. That to me says that this golden eye is not really going to do too much for us. We're not going to get any activations on that pink power. So I've got to think, you know, maybe a little bit more outside the box here in terms of how we play this. But we are going to grab food. We're going to grab, yeah, some nectar there. So the feed is definitely helping us out here. And yeah, really got to think about this whitethroat, as I say, and it's going to affect where I put the eggs here. You know, do I put them on the Moorhen with all that egg space? Or do I try and use the whitethroat to get an egg on the Moorhen? Do I put the whitethroat maybe in the grasslands and lay an egg on itself? Do I want to put it in the forest and think about this end of round goal? Birds in a row. That is something for me to think about, and yeah, maybe try and do something there. And something like this Chimney Swift is on my mind, and at this point in the round with 2 turns left, I was definitely thinking about picking up and playing that with the Moorhen, and then draw cards again and move it up into the forest and then get 3 birds up there. I think these migrating birds can actually be quite good with a Moorhen setup, because you can play the bird and then just get it out of the way on your next turn and give you another space to play birds. So it's kind of just a way of turning food into points, and, you know, maybe a bit more egg space as well with that star nest. So that's certainly what I'm thinking here, as I say, with those 2 turns left. And yeah, maybe just use that as an option. But equally, you know, there's more nectar there. I could pick that up and still go with this golden eye and it's more cavity space. But yeah, in the end, I do decide to go and draw cards, and I'm thinking I may as well draw off the top. I might get something better. And indeed I do cover golden eye. So yeah, that was a very, very lucky pickup. Synergizes just so perfectly with, again, everything that we're doing. It's cavity nests. We're going to get eggs there. It's a wetland bird, so we can just play that straight away. So yeah, I think we're just going to go ahead and do that. Really, no questions asked. So yeah, golden eye, absolutely dreamy bird to get here in this position. We're going to get so many eggs off that throughout the game. So might create some challenges, might create some difficulty in trying to manage that egg space, because we've already got our work cut out, I think, with the depleted woodpecker, where, you know, we are going to take food a lot. We're going to need to fill up on those nest spaces quite a lot as well. But yeah, I'm not going to complain. Goldeneye, a really, really good one to get here. So definitely, yeah, it takes a bit of the pressure off when you get a nice wetland bird in like that. So opponent plays Rufus Owl. Finally, a cavity nesting bird has gone down here. So yeah, we're not going to get the full, you know, 2 eggs versus 0 eggs, but it's still good for us here. You know, we're still getting the cash and the 2 eggs. And, you know, give away 1 egg to my opponent, it's not ideal, but I'm kind of less bothered about giving away eggs in a situation where my opponent already has some. So with the Chipping Sparrow down, I know they're already able to get eggs when taking food. So I think if that wasn't there, I'd feel a little bit more concerned about, you know, just helping out too much by potentially saving turns, potentially helping their tempo with these 3 eggs. But yeah, as I say, not really a concern here. But they get the Shrike Thrush down, so stealing the end of round goal, very nice. But yeah, we'll take our 3 goldeneye eggs as a consolation prize and come into the next round. So yeah, again, more interesting birds here. So Chaffinch can be an option. Chaffinch can work with Moorhen, where you're going to draw cards and maybe have some extra ones, put that in the forest and do some tucking. So that's quite nice. But I quite like Acorn Woodpecker as well. Lots of egg space and other cavity nesting birds. So that's going to help out both the polite woodpecker, but also get another egg with the common goldeneye. So both nice birds. Chaffinch is gone, so we're not going to get that. But yeah, we may well, as I say, get our hands on the woodpecker. We're going to see what we get off this snipe, and it's another interesting option. Cassin's Finch could look at playing that for sure in the forest. But yeah, we're first of all going to go and grab a bunch of nectar, because yeah, when there's nectar there or when I can get a reroll, I think I want to target that, because again, that's a kind of good strength, I think, of Moorhen, where you're not just playing birds and spending nectar, but you're actually discarding more food there, and that food can be nectar, and that is going to count towards your spent nectar. So worth going for that where you can. And yeah, I mean, nectar's always good. You always want that just for the flexibility alone. So we kind of got some options here. I'm not really seeing the wetland birds coming up. Red-winged parrot is actually one that, again, can work quite well with Moorhen. You know, maybe getting some more food to play more birds with the Moorhen, or maybe getting the eggs. I think in this situation, we don't really need either. So we're going to draw. We're going to go with the woodpecker. We're going to top deck. And we're going to get blessed again. So yeah, we've been very fortunate drawing off the top of the deck here, just finding excellent birds here. Mute Swan is just so top tier in this situation. Well, we're going to draw cards. You know, we're going to be scoring points now with the Mute Swan, and it's going to be cycling as well and potentially helping get some more good stuff. So yeah, we're just going to keep drawing it. We keep finding good stuff. So now Prothetory Warbler finds its way into our hands. So yeah, we're almost sport for choice here in terms of all these birds. Lots of good forest and wetland option to go with. Just really at this point, I'm starting to worry that we're not going to have space for all of them, and we may well need to go for something in the grasslands. But we're definitely going to be playing Mute Swan here. That's no question in my mind. It was just a case of, you know, which food do I get rid of? What am I going to keep? Do I spend nectar here? Do I actually try and save the nectar and maybe prioritize that in other habitats, knowing that I can always spend more nectar later in the wetlands? And I think that's what I'm trying to prioritize here. So we got 2 nectar, so probably I'm going to go with the Cassin's Finch. It's a little bit early for a bonus card play like that, especially going for a forest engine where I know I can get, you know, lots of good brown powers in there. But I think sometimes it's useful. Sometimes it's useful just to see that bonus card, and I'm pretty sure it's one I'm going to play. You know, it hits my existing bonus card. It's going to work for that next set of round goal to fill up my forest, hopefully. So yeah, I don't think this is a bad play at all. So we're going to get that in, clear out this goldeneye space, see what we get on the bonus card. We get Fishery Manager, which we have already hit the lower bound on. So that feels like a good pickup. And yeah, as if we weren't already crossing our fingers for birds like Atlantic Puffin and Woodstock and all those lovely big point wetland plays to go with our Moorhen, we're going to be hoping for those even more now. So yeah, pretty good find. And still plenty of time left in this round to get things going. So yeah, I think Acre Woodpecker is probably next on the list of birds to play. Again, just push this forest out. It's a pretty good brown power. It's still early enough in the game where I think, you know, we could use that and maybe get 3, 4, 5 caches on it at the end of the game. And, you know, in that situation, you're suddenly looking at a 10-point bird, which has all these other things going for it with the egg space and obviously helping the bonus cards. So yeah, we are going to do that. And finally, ditch the whitethroat. So as I say, in another world, in another game, that would have been a really good play, but we're kind of already filling up with this woodpecker and the goldeneye. We're not short on eggs, so I don't really need that sort of bird, nor could I really use it in this sort of situation. So yeah, happily ditch that, get a bit more food, just help the tempo, get this woodpecker down. And as I say, that's gonna really just push this forest out, help get more food, which we need if we're going to be using this Moorhen, but help get some extra points to support the development of this forest. So yeah, my opponent's not looking too shabby either. So we had a quick look at their board there, building up the wetlands, and yeah, we know that Chaffinch as well is going to potentially be getting some tucks later on. But yeah, we're just going to focus on our own thing. I think in a situation like this where you know you've got something good going, you kind of don't need to worry too much about what's going on elsewhere. But yeah, lots of cards in hand. So as I say, that could be dangerous. That could be a lot of points coming in later if we do indeed see the chaffinch played. But yeah, 2 turns left for us. So really at this point, I'm just trying to work out what's my best play. You know, I have got this warbler. Do I want to play that this round? Do I want to maybe just hold off, maybe take food a couple of times here? Knowing that I'm going first next round, that can, you know, influence things where maybe a good bird comes up in the tray and I want to pick it up and play it if it's a wetland bird. But equally, you know, there's a lot of nectar in this feeder that's, you know, right there for the taking, and we could easily grab all of that, play the prothentry warbler, I think, with the moorhen, and we're away. So that certainly feels appealing, especially when something like Baltimore Orioles come up. So yeah, that could be something that we look at picking up on our final turn when we play the warbler, and then that could just cap off our forest as a nice big point play. So yeah, that's certainly on my mind, and yeah, we're gonna take the seed here with the woodpecker just to allow us to play this prothentry warbler. So it's all working out very, very nicely here. And yeah, this acorn woodpecker is helping out massively with this egg space. So the more we take food, the more eggs we're going to get here. And yeah, as I say, we need to manage that where we can. And that's somewhere that the prothentry warbler, I think, is going to help us out a little bit as well. So I say opponent's board's looking better now, building out this forest. Lots and lots of cards in hand. So we'll see what that damage is going to be. But they are winning this end of round goal. We'll just take the qualification. That's fine by me. And more wetland birds coming in the storm petrel. So looking very good. But yeah, we're going to draw cards and we're going to start throwing eggs here. We are looking pretty good for those. And I want to see more cards. I want to see what I can get here. We're finding some pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, Magpie Lark. Definitely an interesting one. I'm going to have to think about keeping that. Obviously, we've got to do these mute swan tucks, I think. Yeah, the tern and the robin. Those can both go here. And as I say, we'll keep this Magpie Lark as a potential play for later, because we're not going to have any problems fulfilling that condition of having eggs in the forest. So it's just going to be about, finding a nice grassland bird to play. But prothentry warbler going down. We've already spent 8 nectar in our wetlands and 6 in our forest. So we're looking really, really good. And yeah, 3 eggs in the round 1 on the golden eye. Now 4 in this round. We're looking great. We come into the next round and more good birds coming up. So black noddy. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm after, looking for fishery manager birds. So we're actually going to draw here, even though we can't use moorhen, but I think that's fine when you've got a bird like mute swan. You know, even if I can't use moorhen here, I'm still, scoring a bunch of points here with these tucks and with these card cycles as well. So we're definitely looking good. But again, we're kind of drawing some really nice stuff here. So, the wood swallow, that's potentially a good play with the magpie lark, but do choose to sacrifice that. I think bluebird, again, just more egg space, more cavity space, but helping to clear out egg spaces as well with that sort of power. So yeah, I think that feels like a good keep. And as I say, obviously going to pick up the noddy. And now this sort of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where now I have the noddy in my hand. I know that that's going to be almost certainly the bird that I look to play the next time I draw cards, use the moorhen. So I've got that insurance, I've got that ready, and it actually just means that when I draw cards, it's a bit of a free hit. And again, just looking for grassland birds at this point, hoping for, something to play, maybe double play with the bluebird, or obviously with the magpie lark later on. But this forest looking really good. We're scoring lots of points. We're getting those caches and those eggs. And yeah, I think Oriole in hand, that's going to be a tempting one to go and play. Star Nest's definitely helpful when we're looking at that last end of round goal to try and qualify that. Obviously, may have to look at laying eggs just to do that. I'd like to avoid that if I can, and just use this woodpecker to get some eggs down there and get the qualification in. But it's time for the Oriole. We're going to get that down big points. Unlikely that I use the power, but we'll kind of play it by ear because my opponent has also got the strong forest, and now Chaffinch has made an appearance. So yeah, this could be some really, really strong turns coming through here with lots and lots of forest tucking. But you see, we're already looking good. We're already on over 80 points, and we've still got a lot of this game left to go. And I know there's going to be some high point turns, as I say, in this forest. When we take cards, we're going to be obviously scoring points with the swan. We're going to be playing the noddy. And then we've got this nice grassland play coming in as well. Just, as I say, need to find something to hopefully cap that off a little bit later on. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this game is playing out. I think we've been fortunate. I'm not going to hide that. We found some very, very nice stuff from the top of the deck, but I think we've managed things well. And yeah, built out this nice forest that's doing everything to support the Moorhen, which is kind of carrying the game at the moment. But yeah, lots of good food coming up. We want as much nectar as we can get, obviously, if we're going to use Snoddy. So we're going to take all of that and even more on the reroll. So yeah, almost too much nectar. And I say I've got to sort of work out here. You know, what do I want to do? Do I want to play the Noddy this round? Or maybe, is it worth holding off on the Noddy? And is it maybe worth doing the grass and double play this round? And the only reason that I'm thinking about this is, you know, I may have to draw cards in that last round. If I'm still looking for grass and birds, you know, I might need to react to that tray reset coming through, or maybe just some other birds coming up. So maybe it's better to actually play the Noddy next round and yeah, sort of double up, as I say, pick up the birds that I want at the same time. But also I've got to think about this golden eye, because there's a bit of a problem here where if I clear out the golden eye this round, then next round I'm gonna have 4 eggs on it. I'm gonna need to clear out all 4 of those eggs just by doing grass and plays, and that's really tough. That's gonna need a lot of grass and birds to go in. You know, I'm potentially gonna need to be playing 4 birds there, and I don't have 4 birds to play. So I think there's, as I say, a little bit of an optimization that I can do here, where I actually do this grass and double play, clear out that final goldeneye egg, and then what it means is that next round when I play this Noddy, I can clear out 2 of the goldeneye eggs, and that, yeah, suddenly means I only have 2 more to worry about, which, you know, might make things a little bit easier. And also, if I'm drawing cards, you know, I might want to discard an egg to see another card. And suddenly, yeah, that just reduces the burden a little bit on, yeah, clearing out that goldeneye. So that's what we've done. We've done our double play, and yeah, I think still on this luster, we are going to take food. Not really too much else to do, as I say. Could just lay eggs, but I've actually not got any of the nest types down for that last round. So may as well take food and, yeah, hope that, you know, we can get maybe a bit of fish if we're going to play the Noddy. But equally, just try and grab as much different food as we can get if we're going to try and, you know, ambitiously find a grass and birds to play with that magpie luck. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to, yeah, grab, as I say, a bunch of different things. We actually do get some fish come up, so I'm going to take that. We're looking quite good, I think, in the wetlands nectar, so I might not need too much there. But yeah, for sure, it's just about, I say, grabbing a variety of food, and obviously getting these caches coming through. So woodpecker working hard, nuthatch with 9 caches, looking solid as well. And then obviously this woodpecker, police woodpecker, getting these eggs coming through. So yeah, we're able to manage these egg spaces. We're doing a pretty fine job there. And yeah, so it's a really, really solid board. So as I say, we know Noddy's going down almost certainly next round. That's the plan anyway. We've just got to find those grassland plays, you know, at least one with a magpie luck, but I probably want to play another one in the round at least. So hopefully that comes through for us. But goldeneye with those 4 eggs, very nice, over 100 points. Looking very, very solid. Coming into the final round. And all right, that's the kind of tray I was hoping for, European turtle dove. Would be a great pickup for me. So I'm sort of looking at my opponent and wondering, you know, are you going to draw cards here? What is your game plan going to be? You know, how many of these cards are going to get tucked with the chaffinch, and how many of them are going to get played? That's what I'm trying to work out here. And yeah, as I say, therefore, do you need to actually draw again? And it certainly seems like here, food's being taken, lots of nectar covered up, which, yeah, is a little bit of a concern. If we are going to try and be competitive, as I say, on these nectar scores, we've kind of got to watch out there. But yeah, we're looking solid. And we're looking good on bird feeder as well. Just 1 away. We've worked hard on that. So turtle dove, again, would be a great pickup for that purpose. And I was hoping I was going to get it. And then I remembered Rufus Owl is in the forest. And that can tuck from the tray. So rest in peace, my hopes and dreams of getting the turtle dove. So yeah, a bit of a shame. But I say, hopefully we will be able to get what we want when we do go and draw cards. But first of all, we're going to take some food. There is nectar there. So yeah, we're going to grab that. And you'll notice as well, as I say, we're skipping the Oriole. I think I may have used it once, maybe just to help support the Bluebird double play. But Yeah, I don't necessarily know that I need the food yet. Obviously, if I draw cards now and I get maybe like a stubble quail or a Kia or something, maybe like a starling that can use the extra food, maybe I'll think twice and go and use it on those later turns. But yeah, I think, I say, in this situation where I don't have an obvious need for that food, then I'm not going to give it out and potentially help my opponent. But say Phoebe goes down over there. That's a nice play. Lots and lots of cup nests. So yeah, solid big point play. I'd have loved a bird like that, not to be though. So yeah, we're going to go and draw. And as I say, we're gambling a little bit. We're hoping for some grass and stuff. Splendid Fairy Wren is a grass and play. We don't have that many small birds though, so it's not going to work out too good if we do have to play that. But it's at least something. But it's not hitting bird feeder, which, as I say, we do kind of need. So yeah, we're going to gamble. We're going to go off the top again and spend these eggs. And again, still not really finding what we want. So hoping on the Mute Swan Tux can now. Maybe we get something good. We cannot. We're going to get a Shoveler, which, you know, would hit bird feeder, but I think I'm still going to stick and play this Noddy. So yeah, checking Nectar, counting it. We're quite comfortably ahead. So, you know, do I spend some Nectar here? Do I spend none? Do I spend all Nectar? That's what I've got to work out. You know, how likely is it my opponent's going to spend, you know, 4 or more Nectar in this wetlands? Doesn't feel that likely. But I think, you know, I still want to be careful and cautious because, you know, double play could come out of nowhere and catch me out. So yeah, just trying to be careful, trying to work out as well, you know, how many more times am I going to take food? Am I going to take food again? Am I going to hope for more Nectar coming through? What food do I need for this Magpie Lark is still a massive unknown. So yeah, we do spend the fish in the end, but we spend 1 Nectar along with that. So yeah, I think we are looking pretty solid, as I say, for that Nectar in the wetlands. But we are behind in the grasslands now after that Saves Phoebe play. So really, really need a grassland play. I may need to draw cards again here. And obviously tough, gambling off the top of the deck. Obviously tough because we can't use this Moorhen. But I say, I think this is really where being able to use the Moorhen to play big point birds, but also these nice point scoring engine birds with the Swan and the Noddy, it's actually going to work out in our favour to draw again here because we're still going to score points. So it's not a wasted turn, which it so often can be in these late games with Moorhen, where you just played big point birds and yeah, you're not actually going to score points drawing. So I think with 3 turns left, definitely on my mind, I'm thinking we draw cards, we take food, and hopefully we found a grassland bird that we can play. And then hopefully we've got another one to play with the Magpie Lark. But we're going to get a free bird. I was hoping that was going to be a grassland one. It wasn't. It's another wetland bird that we can't play. So yeah, definitely tough, definitely tricky to work out what to do here. Because as I say, we're kind of 1 away on both of our bonus cards and it's really painful. So we're going to draw, we're going to gamble, we're going to hope we can find some grassland birds. And there we go, Bobolink coming through. Excellent find. That is going to sort us out. Yeah, very, very nicely here in the grasslands. So happy with that. And even happier to find Plains Wanderer next to it on the deck. So yeah, after drawing and drawing and drawing and not finding grassland birds, we finally get them off the deck late on here. So Black Noddy missing. That was unfortunate, but yeah, so be it. We'll take our Mute Swan Tux. We'll take our points. Obviously, as I say, can't use the Moorhen, but we're looking solid. We're looking well placed now. So yeah, don't need to do the Fairy Run anymore. We could certainly do Bobolink and Plains Wanderer. Obviously, we're going to score points from the Bird Feeder bonus card. And hopefully, yeah, with this Bobolink, we're going to get a bunch of eggs. And hopefully with this Plains Wanderer, we are going to get another nice bonus card coming through as well. So, yeah, just sort of waiting and seeing what my opponent's going to do. Obviously, we have a little bit of Nectar to spend. We're going to need some non-nectars to use for the Magpie Lark because you can't use nectars at the game end. But I've got to think a little bit about, okay, you know, where is this nectar being spent for my opponent? Is it going in the grasslands? Do we need to take some more nectar and maybe try and react to that? Do I need to play the Bobolink first to get as much nectar spent there as I can? Or do I want to play the Plains Wanderer first so that actually when I play the Bobolink at the end, I get an extra egg coming through? You know, there's lots of micro decisions here, even with just 2 turns left and what feels like it should be quite a straightforward endgame sequence. I say there's a lot to think about here and a lot to just, you know, fine tune in terms of the approach and in terms of the birds being played. So yeah, I'm just sort of checking and counting, you know, how many eggs would I get from a Bobolink, and it's looking like 4 if I played it now. I'd say if we play it after the Plains Wanderer, we get an extra egg. So I've got to weigh up, you know, would I rather have the extra egg, or would I rather see an extra bonus card with the Plains Wanderer? And in all honesty, I feel like I'd rather get the extra egg. That's a certain point here, versus an uncertain point, because we may well get something good off the first 3 on the Plains Wanderer anyway. So we are going to play, yeah, this Plains Wanderer first. We're going to commit with our 2 nectar being spent, and we're going to find an excellent bonus card, Diet Specialist for 6. So very happy with that. Makes up for, yeah, not quite hitting or maxing out Fishery Manager. And yeah, happy to have got that, because I don't really think, if I'd seen an extra bonus card, you know, would I've got something worth 7 or more? Maybe, but maybe not. So happy with that find. And yeah, just coming into this last turn. So I say we did swing the Grassless Nectar there, but it may well swing back, depending on what this final play is going to be. So we're going to wait and see on that from my opponents. What is it going to be? It's going to be a stubble quail. So yeah, not much we could respond to there, even if we did spend the extra nectar with the Bobolink. Now we would have still lost. So not too big of a deal. And yeah, now we just need to grab a bunch of normal food, because it doesn't matter what we take. We're going to be forcing down the Bobolink. So I'm actually just going to, you know, wipe out this feeder, take it all as normal food, just to guarantee that Acorn Woodpecker gets the cash. I don't want to gamble. I don't want to, you know, force a reroll here and potentially end up missing. So yeah, 5 caches on that Woodpecker, pretty solid. 11 on the Nuthatch, looking really, really good. And we're actually going to skip this Woodpecker now. There's some mind games here, because we're actually winning this end of round goal. And my opponent had a star nest that was empty. And had I used the Woodpecker, that would have got them to tie, and we would have lost 3 points there. So even, yeah, skipping out on that, losing a 1-point advantage from the Woodpecker, we actually gain a 3-point advantage on the end of round goal. So again, a little micro adjustment, little fine decision to make there, just to try and squeeze out some extra points. But onto the game end phase. Magpie Lark coming through to play the Bobolink. Lots and lots of eggs, lots and lots of points. We're looking good here, and I'd say looking pretty good on these nectars as well. A bit of a shame to miss out on the grasslands, but very nice, of course, to win in the forest and the wetlands. So looking solid. We're going to come into the final scores here, and yeah, I'm feeling good. I know this was a good game. We got so many birds down, and did find some good bonus cards in the end. So should be a strong score. There's 67 bird points, looking good, and 16 bonuses as well. So yeah, building a lead here. Obviously, plenty of eggs with the Woodpecker, with the Bobolink at the end. 21 in total. Loads of caches as well with the forest, and even a few tucks, courtesy of the late mute swan. So we're looking strong, getting some nectar points as well, and it is a huge score, 157 in the end here for us. So yeah, super happy with this one. I say a nice big score, but really that's the potential of the Moorhen. You know, when things go well for Moorhen, this is the kind of score you can get when you get the right birds to go with it, when you get the right birds to play. It can just be on rails, and this certainly felt like it was for the most part. Just getting so many nice birds and nearly filling the board. You know, we're just maybe one double bird away, one extra play to get in there to fill the board, but it's still such a lovely board, and a good mix, I think, here of strong brown powers, getting the eggs and the caches and the tucks, but just those big point birds and those bonus card gaining birds, and obviously Bobolink at the end for lots of eggs. So yeah, really, really happy with how this one went. Super fun game to play, and hopefully if I want to watch an educational as well, just to see how useful and strong the Moorhen can be. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy that one. If you want to see more games like this, do please hit subscribe. Make sure you're following along, and I look forward to seeing you in another video very, very soon.